Yo, 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 Don Mafia. Welcome to yet another edition of the Don Mafia Report. Ladies and gentlemen, it is so much easier doing my job when the Buffalo Bills are doing well. And with that being said, this past week may have gone down in one of the best weeks in Bills history. Let's be honest with ourselves. The Buffalo Bills defeated the Dallas Cowboys on primetime television, let alone one of the most viewed games minus the Super Bowl in the past 25 years. And, more importantly, last night, the New England Patriots lost. I mean, right as a Bills fan, let's be honest with you, that's the best week ever. Since we ended up shocking the world and defeated the Dallas Cowboys, there have been a lot of questions, a lot of speculation. How are the playoffs going to look for the Buffalo Bills once they make it? Will they make the playoffs? Who will they face during the playoffs? And there's definitely been a lot of speculation. But luckily, our friends over at ESPN have provided a free calculator. They call it the ESPN Playoff Calculator. And I personally thought that we would go through it together, mess around with a couple of different scenarios, and see what our playoffs might look like. Right before we dive into that, this video is sponsored by Tavour. I'm sure you guys know this already. This is that application that delivers the rarest craft beers in the world to your front doorstep. It's a very simple process. Go to the App Store, download Tavour, and then type in the code DONMAFIA for $10 off your first $25 purchase. And alright guys, as you can see, this is going to be the ESPN playoff machine. And really what it does, it just goes on ahead and it gives you a platform to experiment with different outcomes of games within the AFC and the NFC. In case you wanted to do this by yourself, then I will leave the link in the description so you can sort of mess around with a couple of different scenarios yourself. So let's start playing around with this right now. Starting off, we have the Baltimore Ravens currently took over the first seed in the AFC, knocking the Patriots down to the second since they had that absolute disgusting loss against the Houston Texans, which I personally love to see each and every single minute of. And then now we get into the wild card. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have been super surprising, especially this team that has been plagued with that many injuries. They are still competitive, and they're currently holding the 6th seed in the AFC and the second wild card spot. Say that the playoffs were to happen today, then they would be going against the Houston Texans, and then the Buffalo Bills would be going against the Kansas City Chiefs. So let's start playing around a little bit. And let's look at some of the different scenarios that we can go through. I'm not really going to mess around with the NFC games. I'm only going to put the scores into AFC games and say that an AFC opponent is playing an NFC opponent. Then I'm automatically going to choose the AFC opponent just for the purpose of this video. So let's go on ahead and start off with the Buffalo Bills versus the Ravens. In my personal opinion, you will see this video, but I think that we are going to beat the Ravens, and for the case of this video right here, this is solely hypothetical, I'm going to say that the Bills will defeat the Ravens. Moving forward, we have our next AFC matchup is the Broncos and the Texans. I'm saying they're going to win that. Next is the Dolphins and the Jets. Not that this would matter at all, but I'm going to say the Jets are going to come back. I'm going to say the Colts are going to win, but solely off of default. I have a feeling that the Buccaneers are going to take that. I'm going to say the Jags are going to beat the Chargers, and then I'm also going to say that the Patriots are going to suffer their second loss against the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's just say for shits and giggles that the Steelers win this game, the Titans win because they've been on a hot streak, and then that's it. As you can see, not a lot has changed if the week were to go exactly how I anticipated it to. Ravens are still in first, and the Pats are in second, and then we're still the 5th wild card, and the Steelers are still the 6th. No matchup has changed whatsoever. So let's go on ahead. Let's go to week 15. So we have the Ravens and the Jets. Let's say that the Ravens are just super pissed off that they were exposed on national television against the Bills, and they just lay it on the Jets. That's what happens. And then same thing goes with the Pats. They just lost 2 in a row, and they're looking for a bounce-back game. Let's say that they beat the Bengals here. Scrolling through a bit further, let's say the Chiefs beat the Broncos. The Dolphins automatically win thanks to this video. You're welcome, Miami. And I really like the Titans, guys. I really like the Titans. I think soon as when they made that transition over to Tannehill and benched Mariota, I think that they're going to beat the Texans that game. So let's just say that for hypothetical purposes. And look at that. Look at that. Soon as when they win that game, the Titans will then be the 4th seed, and they would be going up against the Buffalo Bills. But let's just continue here. Of course, we have the game, the Bills and the Steelers. So I'm going to say that we're going to win this game, right? Keep going through a little bit more for any AFC matchup. Raiders. I think the Browns win that one. Okay, so right as you can see after week 15, say that the results end up exactly like this, then you're looking at a little bit of a different picture. You have the Houston Texans. They are now the wild card, and they would be going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. And then the Bills would be going against the Titans, which, in my opinion, I would much rather play the Titans or the Texans right over the Kansas City Chiefs for the first round of the playoffs. But let's just continue. So week 16, let's sort of move down here. The Texans beat the Buccaneers. The Bills will destroy the Patriots in their home field. Take that to the bank. Ravens are going to beat the Browns. The Colts will beat the Panthers. Bengals win that one. Steelers win this one. The Saints are probably going to kill the Titans. Broncos win that one for the sake of this video. The Chiefs beat the Bears. And then that's it so far. So as you can see, if the Buffalo Bills win their next 3 games, the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Pats, then we take over the 1st seed of the playoffs with a first round bye, and the Super Bowl would go through Buffalo. How crazy is that? Moving on to week 17, let's say, for example, that the Pats destroy the Dolphins. Let's say that the Ravens win against the Steelers. Let's say that the Bills win, of course, once again. We'll say the Browns beat the Bengals, blah, blah, blah. We'll say the Titans beat the Texans once again. We'll say the Colts beat that. Kansas City Chiefs right there. The Raiders beat the Broncos. And then that's it for the matchups. Going into the playoffs with a 13-3 record, the Buffalo Bills would be the absolute 1st seed of the AFC. It would be absolutely amazing. But let's be honest with ourselves. That run through right there was for the optimists that loved the Buffalo Bills. Now let's look at the pessimists, right? Now let's look at the pessimists here. So let's go back to week 14, and let's change up that we lose our next 3. Okay, so let's say that we lost to the Ravens, we lose to the Steelers, we lose to the Pats, and then if we were to lose our next 3 games, then if the other games turned out like we went through, then we would not be in the playoffs right now. But let's go back to week 17, see if we can... Oh, no. Yep, so say that we lose 4 straight, then we are going to be out of the playoffs. And now, like I said, that is just saying that whatever team is in the hunt, right of the AFC, then they would win out, which is not likely, let's be honest. But let's do another quick random scenario. Let's say that we beat the 2 teams that we're supposed to beat, the Steelers and the Jets, and we lose to the Ravens and the Pats. Let's look at it that way. So we beat the Jets, and then we beat the Steelers in prime time. Just like that, we are still 5th seed, right in the playoffs, right in the wild card hunt, if we just take care of business against the Steelers and the Jets and lose to the Ravens and the Pats. So really at the end of the day, guys, I mean, there's probably like a 95% chance that the Buffalo Bills are going to make the playoffs. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, we were playing so good against Dallas. 50% of that against the Ravens that I really think that we're going to be able to hold on in there and shock the world one more time. I really think that we can take care of business in Pittsburgh. I really think that we can take care of business in New Jersey. So as long as we can steal one of those games, whether or not that it's between the Ravens or the Pats, then we're going to be sitting pretty, guys, and we have a really, really good chance of being the 1st or 2nd seed in the AFC and having a bye week. I mean, how cool would that be? I mean, you look at all the media who had us going like 6-10 or 5-11 before the season even started, and the Buffalo Bills just basically took a giant shit on all of their opinions, and I couldn't ask for anything more. Yeah, guys, that's going to have to do it for the video. Like I said, I did put the link to the playoff machine in my description. Say that you wanted to play around with it a little bit and really get a good feel and find out just about about as many potential scenarios of how we can get into the playoffs this year and how we can actually win in the playoffs. And then leave a comment and let me know what you think. And so right in the beginning of the season, I did ask the Don Mafia to put their record predictions. So now that there's only 4 games left and we're 9-3, I want you to comment your new record prediction. And then more importantly, will we win the division or will we be a wild card? Really want to hear your opinion, guys. Be on the lookout for my Ravens preview video. I'll probably have that out Wednesday, Thursday-ish. And right above all else, let's go Buffalo.